I've had a soft spot for kids since Iraq. It looked like something out of like one of those Feed the Hungry commercial. It was literally refugee children on the side of the road begging for food. So the back of my mind, I need to make sure that this crap never happens in my country. Never. If I can be some sort of positive influence on kids so that they never have to live through this or something similar, I'm going to freaking do it.
Welcome to the Bert to the Bone podcast, and tonight we have James, aka Cable, live from North California. Hi, James.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing, man?
I'm groovy, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for being on the show. I mean, it's I know it's very early there, and we just skipped it a little bit because you're gonna get your favorite vaccine, and you're going to be safe to fly anywhere in the world where you can. So yeah, you're already. But for a lot of people, they don't know you. Please introduce yourself.
I'm James. The cool kids on the internet call me Caber. I'm the operations manager for True Aim 916, or just True Aim for short, which is an outdoor airsoft field in Northern California here in the States. I do a lot of stuff with KWA. I'm like one of their law enforcement ambassadors, just an overall KWA nerd. I've done projects with SpeedQB Europe. I've done projects with SpeedQB here in the US. If it's airsoft, I've probably got my face right in it.
Yeah, it is. It's to be honest, it's a new name. Why is the rebranding from ASM to True Aim, by the way?
So we previously the field was known as the Airsoft Ministry. It was an actual Baptist church ministry under our church, which is the Antelope Springs Church. So believe it or not, this was actually a church ministry member, and like basically kind of like a leader sort of. Uh-huh. So if you could settle that. So as of about late last year, we decided to take the Airsoft Ministry and turn it into a business model because it was just way too big for us to do with the limited resources we had, with the very little staff that we were getting. So we turned it into a business. That way it grows as a field, and we could still make sure that the church is financially being taken care of.
So were you always a part of ASM? Are you one of the founders?
No. So the Airsoft Ministry, as of last year, was 10 or 11 years old. I believe 10. I believe they started it in around about 2010 or so. I jumped on in about early 2016, right when I got back from Cuba.
Okay, because there is a very nice story around that church, and you told me, but I think you have to share this because
there's so many.
Yeah, but it's about this church because you are doing your events actually at a church, correct? Or a property of a church?
Church property, yeah.
Yeah, church property. So how does it work? Because we can't imagine that over here.
Back before the field was a thing, the church, either the church itself or the conference the church falls under, had this huge, like a lot. It had this huge piece of property, and there was right smack dab in the middle of town. Because the building itself is very small. Maybe I'd say the building itself is about the size of like a really big restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But they had all this property. So they started selling some of it off and basically trying to figure out, like, how do we manage all this land? Like, what do we do with this? So Ethan Gunther, who is TA_Nightwing on Instagram, he started the Airsoft Ministry with just like some turned over folding tables and like some throwaway King Arms guns. But if I understand this correctly, it had started as a way for the kids to pass time waiting for their parents to get done with service or worship. So that's how it started. And then it just got bigger and bigger. and at some point, long before I'd come on, Ethan had went to the church and said, "Hey, this is getting really successful. Can we, devote a budget to this and turn this into a ministry to raise money and to spread the good word?" And the church was like, "Yeah, let's do that."
That's an amazing story. I mean, we can't think about those things here over in the Netherlands or in Europe. I mean, but I think there are many churches has the same place, and especially over here, because there are many churches who are not open anymore. So yeah, that's that. Did you always had a connection with Airsoft, Gaber? I mean,
so years ago, when this face was as bald as my head, I was a cop, and we had used Airsoft for training. I think the first time I was really introduced to it was about 2012 or 13, somewhere in there. So I was aware of it as like a tool, was like this firearms training supplement kind of a thing. So I was aware of Airsoft above like those see-through $80 like 40 FPS AEGs, but never really doing anything with it. I was the way I got into the Airsoft ministry, I was looking for, because I also own a firearms training business, I was looking for a cost-effective place to teach tactics. So Airsoft ministry at the time, and now True Aim, is it's literally 6 minutes away from my house, so it's real close. So before I went to Cuba, when I was still in the Army in the National Guard, I swung by there, said hey, kind of talked to everyone, kind of checked it out, went to Cuba and spent kind of a year just casually researching things, watching videos, just sort of understanding it, and came back pretty motivated to get into Airsoft for training reasons, for fun, as a hobby. It was right down the street from the dang old house. So everything, I mean, if you want to get religious about it, you could easily make an argument that that's how God brought me back to him.
That's actually this is a nice bridge, to be honest, because I have to say that you're never showing off, but you're a veteran, and
yeah. Oh, in that sense, yeah. Like, I'm always showing off. Like,
yeah. You're showing off.
For sure, I suppress that.
But on the way on veteran, you're never showing off that you're a veteran. And I know a little bit of. I have a little bit of veteran. I have a little bit of background, of course. I mean, you're in the Army. You were in Iraq. I heard. You were doing all those things, man. That brings things with you home. So, is Airsoft a part of a healing process, or is it a part that helped you in a kind of way, or?
Depending on how far you want to stretch it, there is an argument for the Airsoft directly. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't really find myself, like, obviously when something is new, you love doing it, but months into it, I didn't really find myself, sitting in a patrol car or, somewhere like that going, man, I can't wait for the weekend so I could go shoot kids in the face with toy guns. But helped in the sense of, as I became an Airsoft staff member, I started learning more about social media and event promotion and Instagram and Facebook marketing. So in that sense, yes, because that definitely had an impact on me stepping away from the uniform world and doing this. And now here I am with a job where I don't have to shave. I can wake up essentially whenever I want, and I don't have to pee in a cup.
But if
that's not the American dream, you tell me what is.
Yeah, but it's a lot of experience you have there. I mean, and it's not always positive experience. I know that, and it's so positive. And
the Airsoft business side of the house, yes, that really helped me work through a lot of things. The Airsoft playing side, little yes, little no. Like I was able to do some cool, like I'd put on, cool little boot camps or training classes for the kids, and that was fun. Or I could help a kid out with something and make him go, hey, that that vest fucking sucks, bro. Like, you really should not wear that. And here's about 1,000 reasons why.
Yeah.
So kind of in that sense, yeah. But being physically on the field, really, I mean, in some sense, yes. But I got more out of being a staff member.
Yeah. So actually,
being a manager than I ever got out of being a player. But I think that's a very adult thing to say, also.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to say yes to this, okay? But we are not that young anymore, so
No.
it's
No.
so no. But I mean, with all the experience from the army, so your vision on this moment is actually from how can I? Are you teaching people something that you learned and bring it over to the kids now in this moment, what you learned into the from the army time?
I like to do kind of multiple brains when I teach.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do a tactics class, like a legit tactics class, and it is based in everything I did professionally and that I learned professionally. But I will also modify it to fit an airsoft field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some guys are hardwired to do kind of one or the other. I kind of like to. The one thing I think I got the most out of the professional world was the sense of utilitarianism, meaning if it's not going to help me go forward, I don't want to mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if me, all duded up or whatever, I got the cool little T10 with all the cool little optics and what such. If me pre-firing around a corner is going to help me go forward in the space, well, then I'm going to do it. That's utilitarian. It's practical for the game I'm in.
Mm-hmm. It's because it's so hard for a lot of people. I mean, for a lot of people to understand who are coming from the army, who are a soldier, and then gonna play airsoft. I mean, there are many. I know many people who did the army, and they really can't play airsoft because it's so not realistic. So it's
that's fair.
So, do you have that same problem? Because I see, I had a
sometimes.
Yeah, I had a podcast with Chris from Canada, and he's a veteran too, or a soldier. He was a soldier, and he told me that in Canada, a lot of people with PTSD, that they actually go and play airsoft just to help them with that thing. Is that something that you understand, or?
Yeah, Josh Warren has some interesting takes on that. He's like, and I kind of agree with it. Like, anyone that jumps into a game of airsoft and they start freaking out, like, what the hell? It's a little weird. Like, you knew jumping into this, like, all right, you're clearly, how do you function as a human if you can't handle a game of airsoft?
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me that the realism isn't there. I think what really bothers me is, and this is in the cool little speed world that a lot of us hang out in, or the immersion world. Everyone wants to look cool, but they don't care about actually knowing what they're doing. So when you take someone, especially like a boomer like me, from the early invasion days of like 2004, my first time, and then 2005 and my second time, and we didn't have any Gucci gear. We looked like first week casual airsofters. I remember we would wear leather boots with desert camouflage, and the old Kevlar, just like some junky hand down like gear, and an old M16 A2 or A4 series rifle. And we figured it out. We survived. And then you have all these kids that are cried out, and they have like the expensive ICS guns and all this. And they suck toes on the field. They're horrible.
Yeah.
They've got like $2,000 worth of gear and $20 worth of skill. That is the hardest part for me to deal with. Like, why do you want to look like this, but you don't want to act like this? I've never known someone that wanted to dress up like a football player and not want to play football.
I was going to play baseball.
I've never seen that in culture.
And that's actually
but that's just me being like a super competitive, hard ass kind of asshole. So that's kind of also the prick side.
No, but I understand it.
I'm super competitive in that aspect.
I understand it. But what I see too is that, and that's the same for me, because I was signed up for the army and it wasn't for me that I could join the army, because I always wanted to go to join the army. But if you never were in the army, you can't talk about it. It's like, but we did. I organized big events, but I never organized milsims, never, because I was never there, so I could never organize something that you can't believe. Only if you have people who did it and were in the army. But I'm a gamer, I was a gamer. From the gaming, I created actually more, and everybody's calling milsim and techsim, but I really talked when I gave my introduction and briefing. I said, listen, you're on the field. We're not soldiers. That's one. We're all people, and people who are field soldiers, this is the wrong field. We do game sim. And that's true, it's game sim. I tried to make games realistic. So I took the futuristical thing from the games like Call of Duty. I put them on the field and tried to give because 80-90% of players were gamers, they were Call of Duty dudes and
office guys, mechanics, accountants.
And I always respect, because sometimes milsimmers came on there. They came and they liked it, but on the moment when they knew when I had my outdoor fields, they came and they know, okay, here today is a switch off. It's just enjoying and having fun, and it's no military time. It's for them. It was a kind of practice time, but I see so many guys, just as you said, coming to the field, feeling like, gee, who, and
all kinds of motivated.
Yeah, and that's sometimes hard, because it's. We have to be honest. It will never be on that level if you don't put a competition in there. And
what I also have found interesting is you'll have all these kids, and I'm sure even in Europe it's the same way. They want things to be more realistic and more milsim. But when you actually incorporate the real aspects of what it means, like, oh, you want realism? Cool. Check-in starts at 3 a.m. and it ends at 4 a.m. And if you don't show up for check-in, you could take a piss. And they go, oh, no, that's too much milsim. Like, okay, you can only wear a certain color of socks. Like, oh, no, that's too much. Like, what's your line, a-hole? Like, what's too much? What's not enough? Like, oh, so in my experience, especially as a field manager, when someone says they want things to be more realistic or more milsim, what they mean is less aggressive. They just want a bunch of dudes dressed up, and they just want to play Tarkov. That's it. They don't want someone with skill. Yeah. They want a more casual experience. They want to walk around in the woods at middle distance and not have to worry about someone being in their face once they turn a corner and get popped 3 times in the chest, because that scares them.
Yeah.
If you want a more realistic experience, we're just going to play guerrilla rules. Every game is full auto and there are no rules.
Yep.
But you're soft. That's why, because you don't understand what it means to be in combat in a theater of operations. You don't understand that. Mm-hmm. When you say milsim, you mean you just a bitch.
Yeah. Were you in the line of fire when you were in Iraq?
I think the first time I was terrified for my life, I was 18. Mm-hmm. It was right after lunch. Or no, it was during lunch, and we started getting mortared. Mm-hmm. And that was like the first time I had ever really like, oh, this is real. Oh, shit. And then we started getting mortared, tents started going everywhere, and it looked like a scene. So you remember in, what is it? You seen Saving Private Ryan?
Yep.
Remember the scene at the end at the last battle where everything slows down for Tom Hanks's character? Mm-hmm. It was like that. And you couldn't really hear a lot. And everything was just, it was like that for me. And it's an experience that, it's an experience, man.
So you were 18 years. You were 18 years when you were in Iraq?
Yeah. When I joined, I was 17. Because you can if your parents sign you away, you can join the military in any branch at 17.
Oh man!
So I joined when I was 17, left right after high school.
Yeah,
and I was 18. That year, I turned 19 when I got back my first time. I was 20. I turned 21. I had my 21st birthday in Iraq on the second trip.
I mean, 21 is baby, you know. If you see the guys now and already creating, my oldest son is 28. He never served, but I mean, 18 years or 21 and already being in a war. Let's say that you're on the field there, and that's something I can never talk about. That's why I always respect all the veterans who did the job. I mean, and for you protecting your country and much more than that, but
even crazier than that, when I first got to I was posted at a place called Fort Hood. It's in Texas. It's one of the biggest bases in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I had a buddy of mine who was 17. He was waiting for his 18th birthday so he could deploy. So you can join the army and be in the army at 17, but you can't you can't deploy to a hostile environment until you turn 18. And he was just in Fort Hood waiting for his 18th birthday so we could hop on the last trip out.
It's typically something American, isn't it?
Wild.
It's
it's so wild.
It's so patriot. Yeah, that's something that we always see, that we don't have that here in Europe. You know, you see the patriotism. The patriotism of the American. That's what I'm trying to say. The patriotism of the American soldiers.
On that one.
Yeah, that's something completely different that we have over here. You know, it's like no, you are proud to do this as you're gonna show something else. Yeah.
So they don't sell these shirts in your country.
I saw your shirt you're having now, man, and that's very delicate.
They don't have these in Europe.
Those glasses. No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You're a proud American, a proud veteran, and that's why. Let's go a little bit to that. No, before we go to Airsoft, I just saw you doing this, and I saw your gaming chair. So, caber and gaming. Come on, tell us, what is caber and gaming?
I think the first game I really got into was Wolfenstein 3D back in like the early 90s. Then there was an offshoot of that called Spear, which were all first-person shooters. I played the original SimCity. So I used to go to my neighbor's house, who was like in his early 20s, I think, when I was a kid. This was like in the 80s. I was like 5, and I would play video games in his room. So a super gamer nerd from the jump. Then later in the mid 90s, I got really hard into the Blizzard trifecta of the original Diablo, StarCraft and Brood War, and Warcraft. Like mid-late 90s was when I started getting real nerdy. Counter-Strike, like I remember Counter-Strike 1.3. That's how old we are. That's old. That's old.
Old, very old.
Old. So, dude, I've been a hardcore gamer since I was a kid.
And always fight games?
Just turned into this.
And always fight games? You prefer fight games?
Usually shooters.
Shooters, yeah.
Just because they're more exciting. Shooters and RPGs. Probably RPGs more. It's just hard to find a good one. I started playing Diablo 3 again in preparation for the 4th one coming out. Fell back in love with that. And I started playing, real RPG nerds are going to appreciate this. So not only Diablo 3, but also Path of Exile, which was a free game created by some of the guys from that original development team.
Uh-huh.
I probably love RPGs more than shooters, because shooters get kind of boring after a while. It's like, oh, cool, guns and physics
But sometimes you have to get boring things, like the last Call of Duty. To be honest, the one where we play the game off, where everything.
Oh yeah, I still have that.
That's. But how smaller the map?
That's pretty good one.
Shipment. I mean, give me shipment 24 hours a day.
My favorite.
Give me shipment.
My attention span doesn't want to walk around in Warzone and try and find, like, I just want to get shot, respawn, get shot, respawn, get shot, respawn.
That's my friends. They tell me, because we have on a Wednesday normally, but if I have the time, we have the Wednesday, we have the game evening, and some of them they want to play Warzone, but I really, it's give me shipment or give me the small maps and just let us go, and that's what I prefer. So from a gamer on, with the experience of the gamer, do you try to visualize things in the Airsoft, what you're doing now, because you're on this moment?
Absolutely, you have to.
And
you're aware of Magic the Gathering, the card game, which is again also how nerdy I am. So I try to. There's a business reason for this, because if you're a manager, you have to do what's going to make you money and what's going to catch on with the kids. So I look at all the the popular and trending games and go, what can I steal from Call of Duty and put it in an Airsoft field? Fortnite would be a little hard, way too much going on. But like a standard shooter, like your Tarkovs or your Call of Duties, your standard first-person shooters, yeah, I'll totally steal stuff. So I took Grind and turned it into an Airsoft game.
Cool.
So everyone starts with my field. We have Velcro armbands to denote teams.
Yeah. We have.
So, and we have two teams on the field at one time. We have a far side and a near side, or a green and an orange team. So you start with either green or orange, but you start with two armbands on. If you get shot, you have to take the armband off and drop it on the ground, and then the person that shot you or someone else can pick that armband up and go take it to your collection point.
And then they
can literally Grind.
And they can steal it back or not?
Yep.
So yeah,
because you'll have a guy that just like killed a whole room and he's collected all these points up, and as he comes out of the room, he gets shot. So he has to drop his little bundle, and then he has to drop one of his own armbands, and the guy that shot him just banked.
I mean, what do you think about competition in the way of Airsoft that you're doing now? Do you think there is a spot for that?
My competition brain is pretty crazy, so be more specific. What style?
Competition is like, we're not talking about Speed QB because right. Over here it's a big competition, but
we know Speed QB. We know.
So, but I'm starting as this year, when the Corona leaving, it's all going up to space. We're starting Dash Masters, and Dash Masters is really something like a hunter. So it's a 1v1. And it's the runner is having to get as much targets as he can, but the hunter, the only thing he has to do is killing. But it's gathering the points, so you get a really ranking system where people really gathering points with more type of games, free type of games. It's what we're going to do. So we have a hunter, then we have a landlord. So in landlord is actually a kind of capture the flag. But it's on 5 houses, so you have to capture 5 houses, make it your own, and in 3 minutes, who has the most land, is the landlord. And then we have the Dominator. And Dominator, there's a big truck in the middle, and in the truck there's a bomb, but the bomb is going 3 minutes. But who captures the bomb actually the most minutes in those 3 minutes wins the game. So that's what I'm trying to say with competitive Airsoft, and
talking about competitive variety.
Yeah, and
for sure.
So I think when we bring when you bring competitive Airsoft more closer to the gamers, people gonna enjoy Airsoft so much more. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, it takes. For competitions, you really need to have like a high level business brain, because I've seen guys try and put competitions together and they just blow right up in their face because they didn't anticipate the rules, or it was a boring concept, or they didn't know how to. So now that we have our 3rd speed field, and at some point we're going to be putting up a 4th field, which is going to kind of look like like an N like N1's like Project N1 where it's like interlocking, use super tight.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start experimenting more with different tournament formats and competitive events for different types of players. So I have a full field. I call it a Milsim scramble. It's full field. It's kind of like how Battle Arena was, where it was objective based. So it's going to have multiple objectives for both sides. It's going to be pretty big. So I have that. Obviously, the different, the 3-on-3s and the 5-on-5s are kind of a staple. But now I'm going to try and build on that. I was going to pair up with another field local to mine, All Patriot, which is about 40 minutes away from me. We were going to do like a league. So I was going to have 3 games at my field and 3 games at his field and put together a league because no one's done that. Well, in January, the wind was like, how's your field doing? Like, oh, that's all right. So maybe next summer we could do that.
Man, I feel the pain. We had that with the outdoor field too, man. 2 years behind after each other, the wind blow everything down and it's so hard working. And it's
and wood is so hard to, OSB, like big plywood sheets.
Yeah, we
like
have
the
them.
4x8. Yeah. Super. They're about $30 to $40 American a sheet, which is I think around close to like 40 or 50 euros a sheet.
Yes.
And it's also super hard to get because of, we had all those riots, from coronavirus, from, politics and all that. So everyone was buying plywood for their businesses and putting them up on the windows. So the demand for that plywood was good luck getting that stuff.
Hey,
can't have anything nice.
I know, James. How important is the Airsoft community for you?
It could be a cliche to say that it's everything to me,
mm-hmm.
but it is. And I was even, like, oh, it's everything. Like, okay, well, look where I came from. In 2016, I had 2 jobs, 2 careers. I was a senior non-commissioned officer in the California Army National Guard. And I was about 8 years away from a very easy retirement check. And I was also at the time, about 8 years into my law enforcement career. And I only needed to do that for another 12 years. And I could have two basically guaranteed retirement checks, on top of my VA disability and all that other stuff. I ended up hating that. Towards the end of the career, I burned out. So maybe hate isn't the appropriate word, but burned out, just tired of it, didn't want to do it anymore. So once I got into Airsoft, that was kind of this motivating factor of, you can make this work. Like, you've taught yourself marketing, you've taught yourself how to brand. You went from just being a dude at a church field, and now you're doing projects with KWA, with Speed QB, you do stuff with guys in other country. Like, you can go to a field or, Airsoft Con or whatever, and strangers know who you are, and they like your antics, so to speak. So that was the big motivating factor in me stepping away from those worlds, because as an adult, you can't just quit a career without, the promise of a future paycheck. So I was trying to get other federal jobs, other jobs. None of them were going to make me happy. They were still kind of in the same world I didn't want to be in anyway. I couldn't live the life I wanted to. I couldn't be where I wanted to be or do what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't for Airsoft, I wouldn't be in the Army. I would still be a cop. I'd be living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Stockton, which is pretty hood. And I was living in the hood part of the hood. So I was a bit of a rough area.
How serious you took your police job, by the way?
Very serious. Well,
sometimes I saw some
as serious as this can take something. Yeah. So we did have like the occasional hostage call every once in a blue moon. We'd have some like a tactical call that we'd have to go on. A lot of drugs, because I did also a lot of big like semis.
Yeah.
I don't know how the world is in Europe. But in America, a lot of truck drivers are former prisoners or convicted sex offenders because that's the best job they can get with their background. So I had to deal with those guys a lot, and they're not always the cheeriest of human beings. Stolen guns, drugs, warrants, the whole. I was very, very good at what I did. It wasn't making me as happy as I wanted to be in life. So I was good at it, and I liked that I was good at it, and I did like the work overall, but just the culture, the climate around it, being treated like a piece of cat, I was like, nah, I'm cool. I took it very seriously. I never said no to a call. Traffic didn't bother me, but I did make a guy sign a ticket with a Hello Kitty pin. So
yeah,
do with that what you will.
Yeah, I understand, because you're happy. Your life on this moment is much happier than it was in that time. Yeah, it's
Oh yeah.
I mean, it seems you come from a dark place is too much said, but I mean, but you came out strong. Yeah. But you came out strong, I think. And
yes.
If you see now being ambassador and actually a known person in the Airsoft, and it sounds pretty amazing, I think, but it is. And but are you satisfied? Are you satisfied?
Ignore this part because I do still technically live with my parents, so ignore that part.
But even then, are you satisfied with things working out at this moment?
God, yes.
Yeah.
There's obviously still more stuff I want to do, but James in 2021 is way happier than James from 2016. My last year as a cop, I had been proposed. They tried to fire me once, which is, if you're a cop and you go a year without at least a proposal for termination or a suspension, you're a bitch. So they tried to fire me once. They successfully suspended me for a week in that same year. So I was like, all right, I'm kind of done here.
It's time to leave.
I wasn't like, I had burned out. And when you burn out, like when you get frustrated, you don't care about the things that you say. So I was like, it's like, hey, you're going to go work with that. Like, I don't want to work with that. He's fat as shit. Why do I have to work with him? He's dumb. I don't want to work. So I was real brash. I was very rude to a lot of my coworkers. But I was at least mature enough to go, oh, this is not health. This is not a healthy way to be. And I had seen guys I thought of it like looking into the future. So I saw guys who had went up through the chains and they had promoted and stuff. Like, I don't want to be that guy in 5 or 10 years. Like, that guy's fat as hell.
I understand.
No, I don't want, he's miserable. He's always complaining about his life.
What I feel now is like, sometimes I talk a lot, but with you, I have nothing to say. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. So I've got a really cool time. But I have
Twisted people always have a lot of things to say.
That's it. But on Instagram, you're going like, it's going well. I mean, you're starting to become
tremendously well.
Yeah. But sometimes you post yourself.
Is very for me now.
Tell me the background about this. Sometimes you post yourself in a thinking chair, and so and you're sitting like a post like that. So what is Gaber on that moment strategize how he's going to do or foresees the future on that way? Or
I'm always thinking, always try to think, always try to expand, because in the back of my mind, now it's kind of like, if this fails, what do I do? So I've always been terrified of failure. And I think it resonates harder when you're a father, when you have a teenage, especially when your kid becomes a teenager. You want to be a model of success for your kid, not a model of failure. So I'm always trying to plan and strategize, like everything. I always try to be very well thought out, very methodical, very detail oriented. I try not to just sort of do things from the hip unless it's something I've done, a dozen times before.
Is that why? I mean,
always thinking.
Yeah. But your Instagram content is amazing. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing funny. It's amazing funny, and it's also thinking out of the box, I think. And
Oh yeah.
so how do you?
Yeah, man. Look at the professional career I came up with. You have to think out of the box to survive sometimes.
That's true. That's true. So, but how did this involve? How does it help you to connect with young kids? And how does it beneficial you as a person, as a human?
So I'll do things like the stock market. I have about $7,000 or so in stocks, and I'll see kids. And it's also the nature of children, really into your 20s, that if you have money to blow, you blow it on crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see kids buying all this airsoft gear and either never use it or just, something. And then I'll look at my stock portfolio and go, this stock is trending at, a penny to 5 cents or 10 cents. Like, why don't you just take that money, give it to your parents or someone and have them invest it in your stock market? Like, you buy an energy drink you spend your money on all this crap. Why don't you start saving for the future like I wish I had done when I was in my 20s?
And do you think it helps?
I've had the same truck now for, how old is my daughter? I think I've had my truck for about 14 years. So I try to be pretty good with money. My credit score would say otherwise.
But the connection you have a lot of work with, younger kids and
yes.
So
I try to.
How hard is it? As an older, hard veteran person, you do it so easy. I mean that for you, it's easy. When I see you walking on that field and that image, you create an image on that field, and that image is like, I love you. That's for me. Yeah. like.
I want to be the greatest airsoft dad.
Yeah,
like Mr. Rogers, but with an M4.
That's it.
That's what I'm going with.
That's a nice.
If Mr. Rogers had a couple of drinks in him and just started making fun of kids.
Because that's so strange. The kids. We're talking about kids, and here we can't play when you're not older than 18. You have to be 18, and.
Yeah, that's right.
And so for us, it's impossible to do it with kids like 14 or 15 years. Is impossible. But I see how they connect to you and you connect to them, and that's actually great. But how the last time I saw you doing a briefing, and that briefing was that was online. I was laughing.
Hell yeah!
How did they react, man? That was the reaction had to be like, okay.
I try to take what I learned from, because really, if you kind of understand my personality, I'm still a platoon sergeant, man. It's the same thing. Being a platoon sergeant or being an NCO in the Army is a lot like being a dad. It's leadership. That's it. It's no different than, if you were the manager of a coffee shop. As long as you were a good leader and you set a good example and you tried to be a role model to everyone while being sincere about who you are as a person, that's going to reflect positively overall. Mm-hmm. Especially in the modern social media era where it's just full of trolls, and speaking as someone who dips his toe into the troll world, you have all these people, especially teenagers, trying to tear each other down on social media. I try to be very aware that they're not going to get that with me. Mm-hmm. I had this should tell you how good we were as a church ministry. When we were still a church ministry, we had a teenager, one of our regulars, come out and say, "Hey, I'm sorry I haven't been to the field in a couple weeks. I'm going through some things. I just came out as being transgender." Now, if you think about that, a teenager, a player, an airsofter who has no real interactions with us beyond the context of we're not hanging out all the time. We're not squadding up on Call of Duty. A player, a regular player, experienced me in my field and all of us, and then felt so bad that they hadn't come back in a while. They told us why they were gone, and they also told us something very personal about themselves, and we're still a church entity. So that's what I try to go for. Every kid hopefully, God willing, every kid has that one teacher we all had that we still think about. You had that one teacher or the boss. You had that one figure in your life beyond family.
Yeah.
You had that one figure that you could look at and go, you know what, that I'm so glad I was around that person. And I'm glad they told me to do this, that, and the other. They told me to stay from this, or they told me to go forward and do this. But if I could just be a good influence on kids, especially in how shitty today is for them. It sucks being a teenager in the 21st century, man.
That's true.
That crap's not easy. If I could just be some kind of a guiding light in addition to the other guiding lights they have from their family or their religious spaces or whatever, then I win. I don't give a shit if I make money or not, as long as I can at least help these kids out. But again, also, I've had a soft spot for kids since Iraq, since the first time I went to Iraq and I saw how those kids were lit. It looked like something out of like one of those Feed the Hungry commercial. It was literally refugee children on the side of the road begging for food. So as I'm driving through Balad and all these other spaces, in the back of my mind, I'm going, I need to make sure that this crap never happens in my country. Never. If I can be some sort of positive influence on kids so that they never have to live through this or something similar, I'm going to freaking do it. I've got kids that only came, maybe a few times, or they were dating someone, and they still talk to me about personal experiences or personal problems. I have a player who was dating another player. They showed up maybe 3 times just as a shared relationship, and then they broke up. And then I was still talking to that person to this day, and they have a family and they're expecting their first child. And I don't even think they're in their early 20s yet. They might be 19, maybe. Yeah.
Is there, as you said, but you're a good person, James, and I really.
That's what it. Well, yeah, I mean, fucking awesome.
Yeah, but
that's what that helps. You can't be a shitty person and do this.
That's there's one thing that I just see it right down there. Is like, where did you find that Russian dude, by the way?
Oh, the one that did the AK video with? That's Thomas. He's been one of our regulars for years. Yeah. He was born here in the States. In northern Sacramento, which is where I live, really in Sacramento as a whole, there is a very large Slavic community. So Russians, Ukrainians, all that stuff, former Soviet Union countries and stuff, huge European community in this area. And so I grew up playing ice hockey. So like the Russian community, I've always I went to school with a lot of that community. I played hockey with them. So like you grow up with all the jokes, the cultural jokes and the niche stuff. So the story he tells is like the first time he came to the field, he got shot in the balls and he just folded right over. And the story, I don't remember this, but it doesn't surprise me. And I just look right up at him and I go, "Get up, pussy." And he just looks at me and he's like, "What?" I was like, "Get up, you're fine." He's like, "You're right, I am." And they were like best friends from there on out. But he speaks fluent Russian. So when we started selling different guns other than just M4s, especially like AKs, I knew it would be I didn't even know if this was going to be successful. I just thought it would be funny as hell. So I wanted him to do a review for a standard SEMA AK AEG in Russian. And he immerses himself as he's got Russian camo. He gets all his stuff from Gray Shop, the whole thing. Oh man. And I told him, dude, I want you to do a SEMA review, like a quick few minutes thing in Russian. He's like, "That's hilarious."
You have to do more. I mean that. You have to do more.
I'm going to figure more stuff out.
Yeah, you have to do more because
it works for us. He's staffed with us now. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, but you can make him a statue. You can make him something in this.
Oh yeah.
In this Airsoft community. I'm definitely 100% sure about that.
I have plans for everyone.
And I saw
he's going to help make me money.
Oh yeah, but he's crazy, and I think you have to do more. But you have the plan, and that's cool. So your Airsoft field on this moment, there are 3 different areas, and one of them was last week. Yep. The new speed
So overall, it's about the space. The overall single space is maybe 2 acres or so. I don't know what an acre is in Europe.
Yeah,
it's big.
We will find out, guys. Find out.
You figure it. It's a big space. So maybe like half the size of like a small mall. I don't know how to make it. Anyway. Meters. You do meters. So it's about maybe maybe like close to 1,000 meters by about maybe 300 or 400 meters, somewhere there. It's a big space.
That's a big space.
So within that space, we have 3 playable fields. We have our main field, which is about 200 meters by about 150 meters. Mm-hmm. This is where rifle shooting came into play because we use meters in the Army. Anyway, then we have a side field, which is it's like a straight line, basically. So it's like tug of war. Uh-huh. So you can only really go forward or backwards. There's no because it's right next. So we're next to a park. And the only thing that separates us is a chain link fence. So that side field was constructed so that no one can really like get a flank on someone or get someone on the side and shoot someone in the park. Uh-huh. We're working on that, but that's how it was originally designed. And now we have a speed field, which is not about 9. It's about the same size as, remember the Project N1 finals they did in LA?
I know, actually, to be honest, I know N1 for 2 years now.
How many meters in 90 feet? 27 meters long.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about 27 meters long by about 15 and a half meters wide. So
like a Speaker B field.
Yes. Yes. Yep. And when I made that field, I wanted it to be as small as possible because I don't like big tournament fields. It's hard to ref. Mm-hmm. So I asked Roy, like, what's the smallest you'll let me get away with? I was like, how about 90 by 50 or 90 by 60? He's like, 90 by 50. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yes. So that's how I made it as small as I could. So you can go to the 3 places. The advantage is we got 103 kids last Sunday, or excuse me, 203 kids, 203 players.
That's crazy.
Imagine having one field that was about maybe 200 to 250 meters by about 150 meters, and you have to cram 207 people in there. You're going to lose your mind.
Yeah.
That's not fun. You can't move.
Fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, if there's too many, cool, you go to the side field. Oh, you want to take you and your 10 buddies on the side field and just play around? Go for it. I don't care. Or you could just go to the speed field in the back because there's like 20 guys back there anyway, and they're just doing speed rounds all day long, but it's fast paced, it's small, it's super fun. Yeah, you could stay on the main field, get your footage or play the objective games. Or you go, get me the fuck away from these rentals. I want to go play with the big boys.
Yeah.
And soon we'll be adding a 4th field as well. That way we can keep getting more players, but not have to worry about the field being flooded with kids.
I understand. It's like staying with that speed, because I didn't want to make it a speed software or speed QB thing here, but I mean, you're building it, and I saw the last video of Demo and SYG, and they came up to North Carolina.
Cap Edge.
Yeah.
California.
But North Carolina
is on the other side of the country.
I know,
California.
North California. Oh, stupid.
Yeah, they went to Capital Edge.
Yeah, that's it. It's North California. I'm going to flag this because this has to get out because I look stupid now. No, I keep it in.
So they did an invitation. It's a paintball field.
Yeah.
It's a very prestigious paint, in my opinion. And it's run by a guy who's absolutely brilliant. His business brain for paintball is brilliant. Mm-hmm. He's the one that put up he put up Speedball, the Speedball Call of Duty map. That's his field.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder he paired up with the Speed QB guys. And that was a great tournament, man. That was so cool. Granted, it went till like 2 or 3 in the morning, but it was still cool.
To be honest, North Californian, I'm gonna say North Cali. That's easier. North Cali teams. North Cal teams. I saw Asylum last year in the last championships, and they really surprised me. I never saw them. Where do these guys come from? And And
good,
now
man.
there are the goaters in there, the tacos. I mean,
Tacos.
I love
My guys.
the atmosphere that's around those guys. I mean, I really like that. So how is that community growing over there? How is the community, the speed community growing in North Cal?
So there now you can play 1, 2, 3. Now you have the option of 3 fields in Northern California you can go to. There's mine. There is one in Capital Edge that everyone probably knows about because they had a tournament there. And there was one in CQB City in Stockton, which is about an hour south of me. I haven't had a chance to talk to those guys in a while. I don't know if they're still really using that field. Also in the Bay Area, so there's Northern California. Here's California geography. There's Northern California, and then there's the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Which is like San Francisco, San Jose, all that stuff. That's all Bay Area. So in the Bay, as the cool kids say, if you go out into the Bay, there is Savage Land, which is owned by a team called Savage Speedsoft, and it's a private field right now. It's just kind of like invite only. It's not really a business per se, but they are the stuff they've done with that field. It's beautiful. They've painted each bunker to look like a piece of art. Like it's got street art, like it's got spray paint on it. All that's cool. Modesto, which is almost 2 hours away from me, about an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is where the Class Act guys are. That's the tournament we went to a couple weeks ago, where I put the YouTube video up and I was posting where the goat. That's where the actual goat was, because it's out in kind of like a farm area in Modesto.
Yeah.
They're still very backyardy. If you look at it, like it's just like pallets and just scrap wood and stuff. But where those guys are heading, the direction they're taking it is nuts.
So
Northern California, I don't want to say it's gonna, squash SoCal, because that's always going to be the home. That's, it's the Vatican as far as we're concerned.
Yes and no.
But it's there's a lot of stuff going on in Northern California.
Yeah, but
it's just a matter of
time.
Once COVID bounces back, which in my area, effectively you could say no one really. I mean, if I got 203 players at an outdoor airsoft field last year, people are pretty safe feeling right now. And I'm going to get my vaccine in a couple hours. People feel very safe, so it can only get better.
So jealous. I mean that, positive jealous. I mean, we are still in a lockdown. I mean, my arena can't open. Still isn't open, and we don't see it's going to open. And if you see, like, America has the most infections and has the most. And they live, they as you said, 203 players last weekend. We could only dream of 1/4 of that. I mean, on this moment. So that was something that, yeah. But okay, it's not like that. And let's hope that COVID is going to leave soon, because I think, because we both have a partner, KWA, and you're one of the ambassadors of KWA. We had a good talk, and we're going to do some great stuff for KWA in Europe. And I definitely have you in mind to do something together. So I really hope that we're going to do some dares and challenge things and people against each other.
Get a passport. I should probably get one of those.
You have to, James. I mean, the time that you just could
thing to not have a passport.
Yeah, I was an American soldier, but I don't have a passport.
LA if I want to go to Japan. What do I need to go to Japan for?
Yeah, that's true.
Half of it's in LA right now anyway. Like, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go to San Diego. How about that?
Yeah, but
we went to Cancun. Like, I just go to Texas or New Mexico. It's the same thing.
You're a real American, man, but you need to go to Europe once. So I always end my because we are already 1 hour and 15 seconds. We are there for 1 hour, so we did our best. So, James, I always end with this question. The first question is, everybody has a chance to ask me questions too. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me, it's your time now. So, and I will be open and as I can.
What obviously, with the exception of the age thing,
yeah,
the 18-year-old, the player ages, what, either from a player standpoint or from a field manager standpoint, what stands out with you in the differences between European airsoft and American airsoft? Like, how are they distinctly different, if at all? Could even be on a business level. Like, oh, we would never do this in Europe.
No, I think that we need to look more to the American milsim airsoft community. We have some brilliant milsim things over here. As I said, I never do these games, but in airsoft around, what I think that Europe has to learn is that if we want to make this a sport, we have to give the younger kids more possibilities to do this sport. So if there is one thing where America is a lot ahead of Europe, that's the age, starting the age, like 12 or 14 years. I think you can make this sport safe for 12 years, for 12-year-old kids. You know, you can do it.
We get 8-year-olds every now and then.
That's what I mean. So this is something that where Europe really walks 80 years behind on this moment. I think the way how the sport is getting created in Europe is more a symbol on this moment how they could do it in America. It's like bringing the competition into the sport, and really what I'm seeing now is people come when we're open. People coming to the arena and train, not game, but train to be the number one and to be one of the best teams running around. And if you see how fast this grows in 2.5 years, so if I reflect that against America, you still see like Speaker B. I have to talk about Speaker B now. It's still like it's like a game in America, and here it's a sport. It's more a sport on this moment, and yeah, that's how I try to get the two things, two answers on one question. So I hope you're happy with that.
Yeah.
Do you have more questions? No more questions?
Good. I've learned many things with you.
Then we're gonna end this one, and then we're gonna end this with a few questions, and you just choose between one of them and put your. Yeah, there you go. There we go.
Send it.
James.
Hi.
LAN party or airsoft tournament?
What was the first one?
LAN party or airsoft tournament?
A what party?
Airsoft, a LAN, LAN party, a LAN.
LAN. Okay. LAN. Oh, for sure, a LAN party. Wait, all right. Is it a house party with my friends, or is it like a big an event?
It doesn't matter. LAN party for you, how you feel it. So LAN party.
LAN party. Yep.
Staying young, growing old.
It would be QuakeCon in Texas.
Okay. Staying young, growing old.
Both. I'm gonna do both.
You have to choose one.
I'll grow old.
Pikachu or Togepi? Togepi.
You mean Togepi?
Togepi, yeah, Togepi. It's not Togepi, yeah?
Pikachu, man, that's a throwback. Come on, that's a classic.
I know you are very big.
I'll go with Pikachu.
Yeah. Online or offline?
Ooh. It's easier to grow things online, but the beach isn't the same online. It's better offline. So let's do offline.
Offline. Console or PC?
Oh, PC Master Race. Get out of here.
Wendy's or McDonald's?
Wendy. Ooh, fudge. I'm going to go with Wendy's.
Beer or whiskey?
Oh, beer.
Florida or North Carolina?
North Carolina. Florida scares the shit out of me.
Soft or hard?
Hard.
Doer or dreamer?
Dreamer.
Dutch or Ford?
Dutch or what?
Ford. Ford. F-O-R-D.
Oh.
Dutch or Ford?
Go Ford.
Airsoft gun or real steel gun?
Fucking real. I'm not that nerdy. Come on, bro.
Milsim or skirm?
If I could be the faction commander, I'll do a milsim.
Okay. Police officer or soldier?
Can I work at Google? I had more fun in the army, I think. Way more fun.
French or Latin?
Ooh, français. Sans sauce.
Goat or Coach Torres?
Ooh, Torres. Definitely Torres.
And the last
Adam's
one.
not going to be mad at that either.
Last one, ice hockey or American football?
Fuck you. American football. Fits the schedule better.
That's it. Man,
Yeah.
James, I really enjoyed this podcast, and I really hope, and I think we're going to do more of them.
We're not done with each other.
No, and definitely not. We're going to see each other soon on one of the KWA events, I think, and man, I'm really happy to have this podcast. Yeah, I know. So get a passport, and don't you still have that army passport? You know, I mean, you don't have that anymore.
I never had one. The only time I left the country was on orders, and you don't need a passport if you're on orders.
Again, James, thanks very much, man. Enjoy your day and get your vaccine and stay healthy, man. And peace.